All right, everybody. Good afternoon on this Monday, and we're going to have a little bit of a reduced upload schedule today because some of the videos that I would usually put up on a Monday were put up on Friday, but we still have Snap Count Monday. I decided to go ahead and save this for the actual day it's meant for. Basically, we just take a look at the Snap Count data for the Seahawks. Who played, how much did they play, what were the rotations like, just get a general idea of how the personnel on this team is being deployed and how good a job they are at being balanced, or how good a job they're doing at being balanced so far. You guys know the drill by now. I think snap count data is one of the best things you can look at when trying to get a feel for how a team is operating. So we're going to take a look at the offense and defense from Thursday's game. First, though, I want to take 60 seconds to tell you guys about Sleeper. Before I go any further into this, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the Sleeper app? It is the best way to experience and connect over sports together with other users. It's a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Go download the app now. You can celebrate and chat on games in real time with others. You can get the fastest scores, news, and alerts, all that right at your fingertips. And of course, you can play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So you can enjoy sports the way they were meant to be, together. Download the #1 sports app today. And when you go, use promo code SBN, that is SBN, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today. Don't forget promo code SBN. All right, welcome back. So first, offensively, the Seahawks ran 66 plays on Thursday. Pretty good number, season high so far. Obviously, we learned last week that the number is not some end-all be-all of how good your offense was, but it's a start. 66 snaps is pretty workable. Keep that number in mind as we move into the second half of this video later. Running back was split almost perfectly evenly. Ken Walker was out there for 33 snaps, exactly half, and Charbonnet was 31. So it was almost dead on 50-50. I think some of that was probably because Charbonnet, it was his first game back. We didn't even know if he was going to go until we got to game day. But I think that you see Charbonnet needs to be out there on passing downs because he's just a better blocker. Walker had one chance to pick up a blitz in this game, and he got blown up a little bit. So you see where Charbonnet needs to be out there in certain situations, even if he's not as productive as Walker right now. Nothing else for any other running back. Wide receivers, JSN leads the way for the first time this year with 53, so that's easily a season high for him. So they said he was sick going into that game, if you'll remember. Clearly, it didn't affect him that much. Maybe it affected him in the first half. I don't know. I didn't think so, though. I thought that he looked fine throughout. Cooper Kupp, 49, so he's still... I think this is probably a pretty good place for him to be. About 70% of the snaps. I think that's probably about right. We don't want to drive this guy into the ground here. We don't want to overwork this guy. We're trying to get 2 good years out of him because it's a 3-year deal. So I think this is probably about where you want to be. Corey Horton, 24 snaps, so he actually took a little bit of a step back in his usage. I don't read a ton into that. I know that we went very tight end heavy in this game, though, so it is worth noting that when you go tight end heavy, your third receiver does tend to lose snaps. So that's the formula. Wasn't one of Torrey Horton's best games, but I still like where we're going here. Still like where this is headed with him. Bobo, 10 snaps. Derek Young, 2. Whatever. Not much to say. They don't get on the field very much. All right, tight ends. I just mentioned the tight end usage was very high. So A.J. Barner basically played the whole game. 57 snaps. Basically the whole game. Which, it's not the first time this year that has happened, but it is notable that we are riding this guy very heavily right now. Like, he played 58 snaps against the Steelers. 44 snaps doesn't sound like a lot, but it was most of the game against the Niners. We are making him pretty much a full-time tight end, and yeah, I think he's earned it. 80% of the snaps, and the only reason why 80% isn't like 85 or even 90 is because that Saints game was so out of hand, we didn't have to play him very much at the end. Arroyo, 36 snaps, so about half the game. Again, look, I'm not the world's biggest Elijah Arroyo fan. You guys know that if you watch my channel a lot, but it is confusing to me that he's such a small part of this game plan, these game plans in general, when we spent a second round pick on the guy. I don't know. I feel like, especially in a game like this that was close throughout, and you're going so tight end heavy, Eric Saubert should not be coming close to your snap count. Like, Saubert, the last 3 games now, has gotten, what, almost, 76 snaps. Saubert has gotten 76 snaps, and some of that is coming at Arroyo's expense, and I understand it might be a blocking thing, but, man, that's a lot. That surprises me. I didn't think Saubert was going to be this big a part of our offense. Brady Russell, 7 snaps. So even though he's, in theory, the fullback with no Robbie Oots, you can see that he didn't play that much. And we basically went without a fullback for this game because we didn't have Oots. Which, I mean, Russell's just not going to be as good at the blocking stuff, so it makes sense. You make do with what you have. There's nothing really to report on the offensive line. The starters played every snap. I don't believe the backup offensive lineman played at all. I don't think we ever went jumbo or anything like that in this game. I will say I got my snap count data from a different source, which I believe has the same information, but it's possible that they hadn't managed to update this stuff yet. They hadn't looked at this yet. So if I look later and I see that one of these guys did get on the field and I just forgot, then I will I'll update the chart for next week. And probably nobody will notice but me, but I will change it if it ends up being inaccurate. Okay, defense now, 67 snaps. So even in a game like this, and it was basically even, we still got outsnapped by their offense, which that's what happens when... I think that if you're ahead by a good margin at the end of the game and the other team scrambles to make a late comeback on you, that is typically what happens. They do tend to outsnap you. So normally I'd read into this a bunch. I don't know if this needs to be read into too much. Again, we're talking about 1 snap. Their offense had 1 more snap than ours. I don't know if there's much there, but this was definitely an opportunity for this team to make up their deficit. Right now they've got a 38 snap deficit and it's not happening. Anyway, I'm not going to sweat it too much, but I would like to see this run game become a little bit more consistent so we can actually grind out the clock a little bit in some of these games. But anyway, defensive line, Williams did play over 50 snaps again. Don't love that. It's not a big deal yet, but it will be as the season goes on, I think. Like to get that number down a little bit. And I don't know if that's simply a matter of getting Jonathan Hankins back, but I would like to see a little bit more of a opportunity for him to take snaps on the bench. Byron Murphy, 40 snaps. That I wouldn't mind seeing Murphy get a little bit more. Maybe you take a little bit from Williams and give it to Murphy. Let Murphy play the pure 3 tech for a little bit. Jaron Reed, 31 snaps. Mike Morris, 9 snaps. And Brandon Peely, 8 snaps. So again, it's a glorified 3-man rotation, which it is what it is. That's what we have right now. I don't know if this team is going to be in a hurry to change that too, because the unfortunate reality is that these 3 guys are really good. And that's the good part, but the bad part is they don't want to mess it up. And in their mind, even if you get a nose tackle, like a true nose tackle, and that true nose tackle takes Byron Murphy off the field for some snaps, then that's bad, even though it's putting the pieces in the right place. So I don't know if they're in some kind of hurry to get Murphy off the field when he is playing this well, and I understand that. But at the same time, I think that Murphy is probably not best deployed in the 1-tech role. And I think that there are going to be some problems as the year goes on with that. So I'm still going to advocate for it, even if I don't think it'll happen. But anyway, moving on. Very interesting stuff here with linebacker. Ernest Jones plays the whole game. That's not interesting. That's pretty typical. Drake Thomas outsnaps Tyrice Knight 2-1. More than 2-1, technically. Tyrice Knight was basically like he was basically the backup in this game to Drake Thomas. Drake Thomas played more than double the snaps. And to my eye, Drake Thomas isn't looking that good. He's not doing anything to earn it. I know that Tyrice Knight's had some problems, but to me, he's clearly a better player than Drake Thomas. And he's probably a better fit for this defense as well. So I don't know. I don't know if this is just something that's going to be temporary. I know that Knight had the one really bad play where he kind of sort of forced the fumble on Kobe Bryant, but not really. And it's a fluke anyway, even if he did. I don't know. I thought he made some other pretty good plays in this game too. So not sure how I feel about this one. I think this is probably just something that I hope gets fixed as the season goes on, and eventually Knight's just the full-time weeks well, yeah, I guess it would be weak side linebacker. Okay, so very interesting there. Hope that changes personally, but I know some people are pretty low on Tyrice Knight, so maybe not everybody will be as disagreeable with that. Edge rusher, good news here. Well, there's also some bad news. The good news, Uchenna Nwosu, 38 snaps. He played more than half the game. I think we all kind of got a feel for that based on watching that game, but the point is, we now feel comfortable giving that guy a normal allotment of snaps in a game at edge. 38 snaps. For reference, Mafe had 40, Derek Hall had 39, so there was almost perfect equilibrium between the edge rushers. And I don't know if that would have changed radically if DeMarcus Lawrence didn't get hurt. He only played 10 snaps, but if there's a world where all four of these guys are playing about 35 snaps a game, I think that's pretty beautiful. If we can get 30 to 35 snaps a game for those four guys, I think that is going to make some beautiful music, and it's going to really produce some nasty pass rushes as the season goes on. So really like that. Didn't like D-Law getting hurt. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal yet, but for the record, I don't know yet. I haven't heard anything. I'll talk about it when I hear about it. Okay, cornerback, very simple here. Witherspoon and Job played the whole game. Woolen played the whole game except for 5 snaps. And obviously there's a lot of discourse right now going on about Reek Woolen. I posted a video about him earlier today. It is notable that with the return of Witherspoon to the lineup, Darion Kendrick didn't play a single snap. And I don't know if the coaching staff regrets that. I don't know if that's a reflection of the fact that they don't think the Darion Kendrick thing is real. But it is interesting and notable that they basically couldn't wait to take Kendrick off the field. And maybe that'll change if Woolen gets dealt, which seems to be the direction this is headed. But I don't know. There are limitations there that we haven't seen yet because he's only played 2 games for us. All right, safety, very simple. Love and Bryant played the whole game. We got 6 snaps of D'Anthony Bell and 1 snap of Ty Okada, which, again, that doesn't really mean anything. And actually, let me stretch this out just a little bit here. Let me fix this. There we go. Forgot to pull that down earlier. Not much to say there. You would expect these 2 guys to play pretty much every snap, and you go 3 safety every now and then. You get another guy out there every now and then. There's not much to... I don't think you can learn a ton from 7 snaps out of 67 having the 3rd safety on the field. Okay, so that's it. That's it for this week of Snap Count Monday. Let me know what you guys think, if anything. It's interesting, for sure. It's notable. I think that the linebacker thing is probably the most interesting thing this week. And maybe the thing that I'm most concerned about, because I just feel like the ceiling is very low with Drake Thomas, but there's also some stuff that I really like. All right. I think I'll post one more video at least later today, but again, it's going to be a reduced schedule because we didn't play yesterday. All right. Go Hawks. See you guys soon.